Oh, this is the end, huh? Digital media is slowly dying, and we can see the response. They thrash about, accuse people of being racists and bigots and all that complete and utter nonsense because they have nothing to grasp onto. And they're desperately trying to get views. The only way to do it is to smear the people who are actually growing. YouTubers. That's probably why we saw all of the smear campaigns, the articles accusing people like Dave Rubin and now me, apparently, and people like Jordan Peterson, because they need the traffic. They need the controversy. Because time and time again, year after year, the results are in, layoffs occur, sales are down, the money's not there, and people are pissed. And you know what's funny? There was a period where these people at these digital media companies were the cream of the crop. They were what was to be invested in. They were the rising stars, and now they are the waning stars. They're going away. There's nothing they can do about it. And there's pros and cons here. You know, Google, I don't want a Googleopoly, Google controlling all the information, but hey, it is what it is. So as long as I'm allowed to be on this platform and I'm able to talk, it's better than nothing. And I think there's a lot of bad things that come with the demise of digital media and mainstream media for that matter, but it's happening. I pulled up this story from February 21st, 2018, because I have a more relevant story. This one is VOX Media lays off 50 staffers, 5% of its workforce. 5% is a decent amount of people to lay off. And the reason I bring this up is because we're hearing now, and I'll show you this other article from the Wall Street Journal, this is the new one, VOX Media on pace to miss revenue target as digital advertising disappoints. This is bad, bad, bad news. The company's there. Let's read this old story first. Digital media company VOX is pink slipping 50 employees as it winds down certain initiatives, including in online video. This is really important because you're watching an online video, and my YouTube channels are doing better than ever. It's pretty awesome. But VOX is doing worse than ever, and they laid people off earlier this year. I can only imagine that people like Ezra Klein, one of the founders of VOX, is rather disappointed that what they do does not work. And it's not surprising that Ezra Klein produces a piece calling Dave Rubin a reactionary right-wing guy. They say the cuts, which affect around 5% of its employee base, were announced in a memo from VOX Media CEO Jim Bankoff to staff Wednesday. In addition to the 50 staffers being let go, about a dozen others will be offered different roles in the company. The groups hardest hit by the layoffs, according to Bankoff's memo, are Racked Curbed SB Nation and the video services team, although there are some smaller changes elsewhere in the company. In announcing VOX Media's cutbacks, Bankoff cited industry changes over the past few months that made it clear the company needed to scale back its investment in some initiatives, primarily around native social video. Isn't it funny that you can be here watching my channel that I'm really happy because this channel that I made, the second channel, this is not my main channel. I have another channel with more subscribers. It's doing really, really well. And I'm shocked to see the subscriber growth. All you guys watching my content, amazing. Even when I make videos about how I'm, like a social liberal or somewhat progressive, people watch my content because this smear that YouTube is some kind of like right-wing reactionary place is absolutely false. It's not true. There are people of all different opinions who are willing to watch this content from left to right to center, and even the people who are far left. Well, not necessarily all the people who are far left, but there are a lot of people who are left-wing, centrist, center-left, who watch a lot of my content. And I meet them on the streets. And they straight up say like, oh yeah, my politics are the same as yours, and I'm critical of a lot of the same things. And there are a lot of conservatives who are like, man, I really disagree with you, but I appreciate you trying to be honest. And I'm like, we got something here. We do. YouTube has consistently grown, and I've had my doubts. But look at what's happening to old media. And the scary thing is, VOX is not even necessarily that old. They only recently started getting investment, and it's already failing. So naturally, they're pissed. But, you know, we see these smear campaigns. Ezra Klein wrote about Dave. It was on my main channel. I talked a little bit about it. Unsurprising. Because they're trying to get our traffic. You guys come and watch us. Well, they want you to go watch them, so they're going to insult us. It's the only thing they can think of. When in reality, maybe a partnership would save their asses. Instead, they're going to go down in flames because they're the old guard. We are the revolution. We are changing media. And I have consistently been on that forefront, and they don't like it. So they try to call us right-wing reactionaries, but I protest. I say no, in fact, Ezra Klein, you are the right-wing reactionary. The old establishment mainstream media espousing about how the world should be the way you think it is, and we are the small revolutionaries coming to change the media landscape, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. So let's take a look at this story. They've missed their revenue target. Oh no! I'm so upset. Honestly, look, I know some people at VOX. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm rather pissed off at Ezra Klein for trying to play this silly game of insulting me inadvertently when he tries to insult Dave Rubin. Look, I know he's saying he's not insulting Dave Rubin, but we all know Dave Rubin is not a right-wing guy. I mean, maybe today, Dave has done a lot of videos where he says he's no longer left, or whatever you want to call it. But a lot of, and I'm not going to speak for Dave. I don't know exactly what his position is, but he does defend left-wing policy. And I think a lot of what's happening is a lot of people are claiming to be right-wing because the left is crazy. But there's an important thing I need to point out. That's not the left. Ezra Klein is not the left. He's the authoritarian. Big difference. There's not just a left and a right, okay? Left and right has to do typically with cooperative versus competitive. Right-wing means like free market competition. Left means cooperative systems. Well, Ezra Klein and I probably agree on a lot of policy issues, but I don't believe with imprisoning people without evidence. Ezra Klein does. He wrote an op-ed about how, unfortunately, some innocent people will go to prison with this new bill about affirmative consent and rape laws. Yeah, I don't want innocent people to be locked up. I take a position of left liberty. He takes a position of left authority. And that's the real disagreement. He calls us in this group reactionaries. Reactionary is a reference to conservatism, people who want to maintain the status quo. I'm sorry. You're the status quo. You're the mainstream machine. Okay? We are the ones changing it. So let's take a look at what's going on with Vox Media and just why he might be so upset. Digital publisher Vox Media is expected to miss its revenue goal for this year by more than 15%, according to people familiar with the matter, adding to the list of new media companies struggling to live up to lofty growth expectations. The company, which owns websites including Vox, The Verge, SB Nation, has been targeting revenue of about $200 million in 2018. Which would have translated into about 25% growth over last year's haul of roughly $160 million. The people said, instead, the company will be struggling to achieve double-digit percentage revenue growth, that the people said. So look, they're still making money, don't get me wrong, but their projections are way down. And we've seen statements from the CEO of Vice a few years ago that this is going to keep happening. They're going to miss their targets, there's going to be layoffs, and Shane Smith even stepped down as the CEO. So look, the dream is over. You had 2 decades. Times are a-changin'. And there will come a point where all of us on YouTube must adapt and change. And I believe I will still likely be on the forefront of that because for those that have followed my career over the past 6 or 7 years, I have adapted a lot and done very different things over a long period of time. But companies like this become cumbersome. Too big, can't move, and then you crash and die. So let's see. The expected miss was discussed last week at a Vox Media board meeting. As some investors grow concerned about the situation, one of the people said. A spokeswoman for Vox Media said it's too early to make predictions about 2018's final revenue because the fourth quarter is traditionally the largest, by far, for the company and the digital media industry. The spokeswoman said Vox Media is having a strong third quarter and expects to finish the year within its forecasting range with double-digit percentage growth. A person close to the company said that $200 million is a stretch sales goal at the high end of range. The expected Vox Media shortfall is another sign that the digital media industry is struggling to adapt to the reality that online ad growth is becoming harder to come by, especially as tech firms such as Facebook, Apple, and Amazon corner the market. Last year, BuzzFeed and Vice Media, 2 of the largest digital media firms with revenue, missed their revenue targets substantially. Year after year, CNN's ratings are down. They're on TV. Vox, their revenue is still up, but they're not going to meet their goal. So it's like CNN has probably gone over the hill. But we can look at all these layoffs from earlier this year. We can look at BuzzFeed and Vice layoffs year after year, more and more layoffs. BuzzFeed just laid off their whole podcasting team. They're not surviving. They're desperate. And I'm going to give you all a warning. Desperate people are dangerous. Desperate organizations are dangerous. They're going to start, look, the last thing that will happen from these companies is they're probably going to start putting out extremist calls for violence, right? That might be a bit hyperbolic, but we've already seen an article from Splinter News saying that they want and encourage, like violent insurrection. I did a podcast about it several months ago. But they start with smears. And as they desperately try to attract views, they will start going crazy. The same is true for YouTubers. We see YouTubers do this, make shock content. These 2 guys apparently recently claimed that they were dying or something. That's going to happen, but these people have real money behind them. And as they fail and as they lay people off, they're going to start thrashing about violently, and a lot of people are going to get hit with collateral damage. So let's see. One concern for Vox Media, much like other digital media firms, is that revenue from sponsored content isn't growing as fast as it once did. The people familiar with the matter said, Vox Media, which relies on advertising as its primary source of revenue, has sought to diversify its business over the last year. The company has expanded its cross-company advertising network, Concert, launched a podcast business, cut licensing deals with video companies such as Netflix and PBS, and has begun selling publishers its proprietary content management system, Chorus. So let's see, it says BuzzFeed, for example, recently launched a product review site to capitalize on affiliate revenue sales, and its news division has begun asking readers to chip in with donations. Yes, BuzzFeed now taking donations, but I actually think that's a good idea, okay? I function off of a mix of donations and advertising revenue. Most of the money I make actually comes from advertising revenue right now, but with demonetization, it actually goes back and forth. So when people donate, they provide this safety net that says, Tim, you will always be able to do what you do because you will at least have some cash because there's people supporting me. Basically, everybody who's a patron of mine or on PayPal, they're basically, you're the people like standing behind me in case, we're doing a trust fall, right? I got demonetized like yesterday, everything. I'd say maybe like half of my videos demonetized. So with my second channel, advertising revenue is up. But Patreon is the only safety net that I actually have. So BuzzFeed doing this, I actually think it's a smart idea. And this might actually help BuzzFeed by taking donations from their readers. The issue is, people donate to me because they trust me personally. Well, actually, I don't want to say, look, I don't know why you donate to me if you do, but a lot of people do because they're like, I think Tim's trying to be honest, and very few people do. That's what people say to me. And so I have a lot of people who like cancel donations because they think I'm not being honest. But why donate to BuzzFeed? Why? I mean, I wouldn't. I might pay for media from like the Wall Street Journal or something, but I mean, I only routinely comment on some of their articles. So it's tough. I think what we're doing here, what you're watching, is going to be the future of news to an extent. The old guard is going to kind of evaporate. It's going to be replaced by something that's kind of a combination of what this video is and what they used to do. And so it'll be interesting. But I guess I'll just end by saying this. Digital media is dying. It's been dying. Shane Smith called it a bloodbath a couple of years ago. And it's going to get real bad. It's going to get real bad as they go down in flames in a desperate bid to retain what little views they'll get. They'll say some pretty nonsense BS, and we're already seeing it. Imagine how much worse it can get. Anyway, stick around. I've got another video coming up in just a few minutes.